This is Infection, the survival podcast, recorded live on Tuesday, February 26th, 2019, episode 215. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. Bring you the latest news, reviews, updates, and more each and every week. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. Of course, visit our website, infectionpodcast.com. I'm no longer alone. He has returned from a vacation, a secretive vacation, until his wife told everybody in Discord that it was a secret. Brian with an I, Aldridge. How you doing, Brian? It's been a week, or 2 weeks rather, since we've talked.
Yeah, it's going well. I am recovered from traveling.
Poor you.
I don't have a sunburn, which is good, and everything's going well.
You know, I almost died last week doing this show. I just thought I want to state that for the record.
I did catch it. So I was in a diner. Where we were at, and I turned it on right at the end because we happened to get internet service for a little bit.
Did you hear my voice?
Yeah, and so I tuned into like at the very end of the show.
Did you hear me do your tip of the week?
No, I didn't hear that.
I don't remember what the tip of the week was, but I did do one, and I did it all. Current players tip of the week, the whole shebang. It was like I didn't even need you
right after. I came in right after I think tip of the week.
Ah, okay.
Because you were just kind of winding up.
Yeah.
So
perfect. Well,
it worked out.
Glad you're back. It's a whole hell of a lot easier to host a show with another person than by yourself for an hour, especially while you're sick. So where can people find you online?
All right, if you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, or my blog biteoftech.com, and of course go to our website infectionpodcast.com. On the right hand side you'll see a link that says join our Discord, join Discord server, and it will take you to a place where we all hang out and chat throughout the week. There's a channel in there for news if you want to submit news topics that we can cover during the show. We've got a lot of different areas of there, but it's a free app on your phone, nice desktop app. Also, if you don't want to install a desktop app, they actually have a web client you can use as well. We have our Steam group. If you'd like to do that, that would give you a notification right before the live show starts. And so just click that, joins the Steam group, and just sometimes we'll do one before our game of the week, but not always. So if you happen to be at your computer and you get a notification, you can join us for the live show. And then all of our audio and video forums. So maybe you're an audio listener. We have a link on there to our Twitch if you want to join us live on a Tuesday. It's really easy to do.
Awesome. So, well, thank you very much for that, Brian. And boy, am I going to butcher this name. This is GOTW has just hit us with the subscription here. Thank you, GOTW, and our friend Nissan Communications as well subscribed, as well as Maltros over the past week, and Johnny Fine. A whole bunch of names that have just popped up on my Streamlabs list. So thank you to Johnny Fine, Maltros, Nissan Communications, and GOTW for the subscription. We had a whole bunch last week as well. So thanks everybody for those. We appreciate it, and it's going to fund our trip out to the West. Well, my trip out to the West Coast. Brian's kind of already out there, but my trip out to the West Coast for PAX West coming up. I assume it's in September again, later on this year. So we're looking forward to that and heading out to PAX. We decided we're not going to do PAX East. It was a little crazy trying to. Brian was just.
Well, I think it's happening this weekend, anyways, or something like that.
Yeah,
it's right around now.
It's in March, I thought. I could be totally wrong.
Well, we decided. I think this weekend is the beginning of March. So yeah, it's coming up very soon.
Yeah, we decided
it's coming up next week. Next week, I bet you.
Yeah. So Brian was going to be out of town. I'm glad we didn't go because I would have had to cancel the trip. So I'm very glad we didn't book.
I mean, this is kind of a bummer, but my wife's grandma just died.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
In the last 2 days. And so that would have messed with it. Last time, I don't know, people don't really know, I don't really talk about it, but not PAX West, but PAX East. Actually, one of my really good friends died that week before.
Yes, and actually, I did know about that, yeah.
Yeah, so I skipped the funeral, and I'd prefer not doing that for my wife's grandmother. She wouldn't let me
live
that
Brian,
down.
Video games, you don't understand. Like, this is a big... Brian, we're a big deal.
Yes, I know. No, we are a big deal, and
I'm very glad we didn't book this trip because I literally would have had to cancel due to work. So
yeah.
We made the
So
right
I think everything just seems to, at this time of year, like just stuff happens. It just seems like that's what it is. So I think it worked out.
Yeah, I don't know,
because we didn't really have anything crazy happen on our PAX West trip. Like nothing crazy happened beforehand. It was good.
Just some crazy conversations during PAX. Other than that, everything else was relatively normal. All right. So
what happened to PAX days of PAX?
Yeah, I didn't bring up anything. So
okay.
Yeah, we'll look forward to that out in Seattle, Washington here in a couple of months. Our game of the week Friday was awesome. We have not had good turnout on game of the week, and it's gotten to the point where Brian and I contemplated stopping doing an official game of the week and just encouraging people to just show up and play games because the turnout has been atrocious. But this Friday we had a great group. I think we had 7 people at the I think we had, did we have 8? We did. We had 4. We were playing 4v4, I think. No, we were playing 3v3.
We played 4. Well, okay, no, but then so we played 3v3, some people left, and then we played 4s right,
online
against online.
And then you left and more people showed up. I played Rocket League until I think Saul and I logged off around almost 12:30, I think, Saturday morning. So we played for a few hours, and we actually played the new cross-platform version, which had just come out the week prior, which I didn't know.
My wife was stoked. Now, my wife came home. She said she was going to be working really late that night.
Yeah.
And so she wouldn't be able to make it to Game of the Week. And magically, she got off of work and came home just in time to play some Rocket League.
You actually used the cross-platform play. You played on the PlayStation. What was that experience like cross-platform? Because we were all on PC. Besides you and your wife were on cross-platform, and the 4 or 5 the rest of us were all on PC.
We've got 2 PS4s here. So she played in one room, I played in the other. And it seemed fairly seamless. We didn't have issues of dropping connection, and it didn't seem like it was lagged and having a bunch of issues. It felt like I was just playing normal games online like you normally would. So I think it worked. For being one of the first cross-platform games. If you look on PS4, there aren't very many. I think there's maybe 1 or 2. I know this was one of the first 2 games that really did the cross-platform like this. And so I think they did a pretty good job of it. And hopefully other games will follow suit, and they kind of get away from that ecosystem of being locked into the PS4 and make it so where they do matchmaking outside, just like this, because this worked out very well. They give you a Rocket ID.
Yeah, which they generate for you, so you don't have to make one. They generate a random one for you, which is cool.
And then you can customize it too. But it gives you one just so that everybody has a unique name, so you can start adding people. Then if you want to customize it to whatever you would like, it does very similar to what Blizzard does. Blizzard does the whole here's the name. Actually, Discord does the same thing as well.
They do.
It puts a hashtag, or a hash symbol, and then a set of numbers so that everybody is unique. That way you can have the name that you want. Because I'm sure, I know I always had to fight for Boise Computer. So many people pick that name. But if you have a name that's very common, like for instance, Saul Goodman, I think he has a lot of issues getting that.
Whatever.
So he has to make Saul Greatman and things like that. So I think with him, this makes it so he actually can get, because that is a kind of a common name because of Breaking Bad. That is a common name. He can get that name that he wants and not have to be just the first person to happen to get it.
Yes. So it allows you to do that. I thought it worked out well. We had a good time with it, and we had a good turnout for Game of the Week, which was Rocket League. Now, I was going to go and put a Game of the Week in here, but I saw you already had something on here. So what's going on this week, Brian?
Okay. Well, I thought because Division 2 is having their open beta.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
This weekend. So I thought it might be good to get in there. For me, I remember talking about it on here. Division 2, for me, the audio was just going crazy in my headphones. Big issues. Hopefully they got that fixed. But this would be their open beta. We had a closed beta before. And so you actually had to sign up before and get a code and do everything. Now everyone who wants to play should be able to get that. We can do, I think, groups of 4. I'll just see. I don't think they changed it. So you and 3 other players, I think, is what they do with the grouping system. Suppose it's a much bigger open world. Hopefully they have some. They said the the focus is really end game stuff. So they'll have probably some of the bigger missions that you do in there to try out. But I think this would be a good one, so that way people can kind of get an idea. Has it changed from Division 1? Is it worth getting? Because Division, I enjoyed Division, the original Division. I know not everyone else liked it as much, and a lot of it was because there was a very limited amount of PvP, and the PvP was somewhat repetitive. I liked the quest system, and I liked the quest and all the story of it. Once I got to the PvP, I was like, eh. But I think we can try it out, see if it's worth getting, because you can pre-purchase it now. You can get it, I know, on the Epic Store. They're selling it. So,
well, cool.
If so if you want to come join in that, I'll make sure, I'll double check that it should be unlocked on Friday, but that's one thing we'll just want to verify that it unlocks early enough to allow people to go in there and download.
Gotcha. All right, well, check that out. So Division 2, that'll be our game of the week. I will be out of town for work, but I will be there in spirits. So I'll be out of town for a couple days starting tomorrow. But don't worry, it won't change anything that we're doing here for next week's program. All right. I'm trying to think any other housekeeping things over the past 2 weeks. I don't think anything major, Brian. Let's open up with a throwback, Brian.
Okay.
A game that has not opened our show in quite a while, and that is H1Z1. Now, we've been waiting for a couple of things. Our Clegger, Adam Clegg, put out a screenshot of a Steam update or patch that they put out, talking about the big update for Z1 Battle Royale. Now, if you've listened to this show for any period of time, you've probably heard us discuss not PlayStation 3, but Play Test 3 or Preseason 3. Some people call it it's called Preseason 3. Some people call it Test 3 or whatever. And that's what they've been working on, is reverting H1Z1's gun mechanics, driving mechanics, the way that the game played, movements, animations, all that stuff back to Preseason 3, which I don't remember when Preseason 3 was, but it was many, many months ago. And coming,
or at least a year ago.
Yeah, it was. I don't even know at this point. And we've had some differing opinions on if they're just listening to the community. We've seen in the past with video games how Reddit or Twitter or whatever wants something to be implemented into the game, or wants a feature, wants a this, wants a that, and the developer will implement said feature. Daybreak did this many a times, and then the community hates it. It's the worst thing in the world. It needs to be gone. It sucks. It's terrible. It's awful. So we've seen that before, but they have gone full force into taking the game from its current status and reverting it back in terms of animations, gun mechanics, vehicle mechanics, the map, the way the environment, the lighting. They literally have taken the game and reverted it back to probably 2017. Now, some would say, why not just go back to the 2017 version of the game? They kept all of the anti-cheat and all the things that they'd fixed between 2017 and now in the game. So they had to do these changes manually, bringing back all of these mechanics and whatnot. And they've gone full force with it. And we're seeing the result of that. That's going to be out March 6th. And they've just launched their website, Brian, which is, I like the domain. It's z1.live, Live, which I think is really cool. Domain name, at least, is cool.
Easy to remember. Short.
Yeah, easy to remember. And they've got this here. There's a home splash page, and it says the return of the king. Now, the big thing they've got in here, and they said they have a form that I guess is up. They said it's been crashing, but they do have a form up here, which is kind of their big thing that they're looking for So they've got a form up here that you can go ahead and...
They don't want to have Reddit be their main form of communication this time?
No, I don't think so. They've got their forums.
Learn their lesson the first time.
Thank you, Judd, for the subscription. We appreciate that. They've got a link to their Trello, which is their daily, their tracker, their roadmap, where they're keeping track of things on here. So there's a lot of stuff on here, and a lot of stuff as they head towards essentially season 3. It was called pre-season 3. So they're calling this March 6th launch season 3. I think is how they're doing it. So that's coming out March 6th. There's a whole bunch of stuff. That's the estimated date. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, they're in full effect. The Nat Nat G mobile. Yeah, Nat G is in full effect and full force. So I guess.
And this, as you said, is their first real update. I mean, because they've been working on this thing for quite a while. But now they've done little hints and shown little videos of, hey, look at this. This is similar to the guns and things like that. But it is showing little teasers.
But it is interesting because if you look at the bottom of the website in their footer, they've got links to the privacy policy and the support. All of that still goes to Daybreak, which is interesting. That may be placeholder content. I'm not sure. But all that stuff is going directly to Daybreak support, which is interesting. And I guess there's and then
probably because they don't. Well, first of all, they probably haven't had their attorneys finish up all the legal things, privacy policy. Because I mean, if they want to really customize it and not just use Daybreaks, they're going to have an attorney go through and create a custom one. So maybe just to cover themselves.
So here
seems like they kind of threw this up. I mean, one thing, do you notice next to the copyright, there's Nat G, and then next to the copyright, there's like the A symbol.
Yeah, the A symbol. Yeah, I don't know what that
looks like they've kind of hurried and put this together pretty quickly.
Yeah. So here's what they say is a small preview of what is coming with this season 3. So a major overhaul / restoration of the movement and animations, which I think that's probably one of the biggest things. People really have been complaining. People that played a lot of H1Z1 that the motion and the movements and the way that H1Z1 moves as of now sucks. It's not good. The play is not very smooth, and we've seen that with the dwindling numbers. Also, probably this may be the biggest thing people want as well is the restoration of combat and gun mechanics. They've drastically since pre-season 3 have drastically changed the way the ARs and the shotguns with these random hits and all this other stuff work. So they've done that. They've restored vehicle mechanics. Again, restored pre-season 3 era maps, environments.
It's so hard to not say PS3.
I know, that's the acronym I've always known.
PlayStation.
Now here's a couple of new things. They've added in-match missions, which is kind of interesting.
You got to give people a reason to keep showing up. A lot of times, especially in a game where a lot of people have played these already. They played this game. The game that they're making, people have played already. And so they've got to come up with incentives to get people going in and playing every day, because it gets them in a habit of it and they'll keep playing. Because you know how easy it is. You have a game, life gets busy, you walk away from it for a while, and then you just forget about it. Like you don't walk back. So I think having little things like that, that's what gets people staying in mobile games. That's the only thing that probably keeps people staying in certain mobile games is the daily stuff. Oh, I have to do this stuff each day. And it keeps people alive for a lot longer.
Yeah. I know Dead by Daylight's got a good little quest system, in match system, where there's things like escape as a certain character, or the one I was trying to do the other night was get chased for 2 minutes as Claudette by a specific killer, I think is what it was. So it was a little unique. Yeah. That stuff's kind of interesting. So they've got that in there. They've added a new fragments / collection system. The fragments used to be, I know they're clothing fragments, but fragments, I think at one point.
Well, you don't think they're talking about like the little metal gears? Do you think that they're talking like a currency?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Because I think fragments was used in regard to those, but I don't remember. Then the other new thing here is seasonal play and ranked playlists. Again, a push at kind of an H1PL Pro League thing with ranked playlists and ranked matches. announcement of a new Showdown tournament, which is their big esports tournament that they run. All new rewards and 1 or 2 surprises. And full patch notes will be listed on the day of the update, which is of course, a Wednesday. So
day after the show, perfect time.
We'll be almost 6 days late with the news on that. Well, do we think the patch will be on time? Here's the real question. We may be ahead of the news cycle by the time that it comes out. So March 6th, alleged, that's 2 weeks. Or actually, no, excuse me, not 2 weeks. It's next Wednesday. So we'll have to see what the result is of that.
So I have a question for you on this,
Yes,
because
sir.
here's something I was actually, when I first saw this announcement, I was thinking, what do they do about updates past this preseason 3? Because they don't want to be locked into, oh, it has to stay exactly like preseason 3. Right now, they're taking it to that point. I assume they're then going to continue improving upon it. But are they not allowed to say, all right, well, we've come up with a better movement system? Are they not allowed to ever leave this again, or are they stuck that this is what they have to do?
Well, and I don't know how much we have a lot of news this evening, so I don't know how much of this conversation you want to get into, but I do think that they have kind of backed themselves into a corner with this. They have allowed this version of the game, this preseason 3 feel, look, movement, play, whatever you want to call it. They have allowed that to become the new game. And I agree with you, Brian. I think you have now you could potentially be creating an issue where you are never allowed to
switch,
to make modifications to, for example, the movement system, the way that the guns play, the way that the vehicles move, the way that, all of these mechanics that they're changing back, the lighting, the environment, the way things just kind of appear. And I think that could be dangerous because, frankly, when you can't change anything in the game, it's going to become very stagnant. So I don't know. Maybe they're just reverting to the base mechanics of that, and they'll be able to do the tweaking.
I think they should have worded it differently, though. I think they should have said, we're going to, because here's the problem. They're saying we're reverting, we're going back, we're making everything PS3, we're restoring it to PS3.
PS3, yes.
I think they should have said, we are going to update the movement system and make it more resemble the preseason 3 movement system. I think they should have said, we're not going back to the preseason 3 movement system, but we're going to fix it and make it closer to that. Then I think they would have given themselves the freedom to say, you know what, we didn't ever say we were going to be identical to preseason 3. We're just going to make it feel like it, and we're going to make it work like it, but we're going to continue to improve it. Because I think that, as you said, they backed themselves into a corner, and now you'll have people that just complain and say anything outside of what this exact movement system is and this exact set of mechanics is bad. And you guys, you lied to us, is what they'll say. I mean, you know how the internet is.
I know. And that sucks. I mean, it sucks that they could potentially be, essentially trapping themselves. No, I mean, that's kind of the argument you could make is, they're kind of setting their own bear trap in the community wants PS3. They want PS3. That's the only thing anybody's interested in playing. Well, they might propose and get a good version of PS3 running. And then where do you go from there? Yep. You're kind of against a brick wall.
And these guys are still, they're in our chat. They're kind of talking about the engine a little bit. They are stuck in this engine. I mean, the thing is they're, rather than taking this opportunity saying, all right, Nant G, a whole new development company, as far as generally, they did bring a lot of people over, but they would have had the perfect opportunity to switch away from Daybreak's engine and not be locked to. I mean, maybe there was some requirements by Daybreak to say, you know what, you're going to keep using our engine, but this would have been the perfect opportunity to say, we're going to remaster this game, and we're going to do it in Unreal or something, and do it in an engine that doesn't limit us. But no, they didn't. Now they're locked right back into it.
You can continue your, I don't know what you'd want to call it, your crusade on the new engine fight, Brian, but it ain't going to happen. I mean, it's just, it ain't happening, which is, I think,
especially now, like they have doubled down, as you would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
They have doubled down on Forge Light, and we know Forge Light's not going to improve. I mean, it's just they've proven that over how many years now? They're not going to be changing.
Into our 5th year of the show.
Yeah, and the 5 years, and the most that they've kind of improved is what, the fire effects. I mean, we saw how many patches talking about fire.
No, I mean that's not true.
Lighting.
They've made improvements to the end. That is unfair to say. Come on.
Like what though?
I can't off the top of my head name. We have not talked about H1Z1 updates honestly in a year and a half. So I really
I'm talking about things that at the actual engine level.
I don't know.
Itself,
I mean,
they've made improvements to the game, but the things that they've really said that we reworked in the engine.
How many things?
Was
how
a
many
lot
things?
Of the lighting and fire effects.
But how many things in game? For example, is movement the engine?
No, no, it wouldn't be the engine. That's what I'm saying. The things that at the engine level, they have
like what? What should they be improving at the engine level?
Well, first of all, like DirectX 12 implementation, they're in DirectX 9.
Okay, but what is that? Okay, so how's that going to help the game? It's going to make
DirectX 9 eventually is not going to be supported on Windows anymore.
Understood.
And so you won't be able to install.
But how's that going to make the game better? I mean, that's kind of what you're talking about.
Well, you would have a big frame improvement on DirectX 12.
All right, so you can pile.
But my main thing would be visual effects, lighting, the way that it does streaming of levels, and the thing is it's not what it would fix on what's currently there. It's the fact that they have hit the ceiling on possible things that they can do right now. Like, it can't get better. That's my issue. It's not that if they switched to Unreal and kept it exactly the same as right now, that it would seem better. The lighting would look different, things like that. But they can't improve beyond this. Like, they're very limited. And so I think that that's my biggest thing is they've done everything that they can with Forge Light. Like, they've squeezed everything out of that. But they're never going to be able to keep up. I mean, look at all these BRs coming out that just have the ability to do more. I mean, that's my biggest issue is they can't improve. They can't add too much more because they're overtaxing their engine. Like weather effects. I mean, simple thing like the weather effects, or being able to put in, like, look at what they're doing with, having all these other engines are implementing things that allow them to do a lot more processing on the server side. I don't think they're able to do that with this engine, which brings hassles in with anti-cheat and all these other issues. They have so much that's being passed off to the client, but because I think they're so limited by the engine that it opens the door for hackers to be able to do whatever they want. I just think that there's a lot of limitations of the engine that we've accepted, that this is because it's H1Z1, but I think they've done the best that they can. I think the development team did the best of what they could with what they had. I just don't see them improving it too much beyond that.
Yeah, I think a new engine would be a great buzzword, but I don't really think it would make the game any better. I mean,
it would improve the frames. To where you could have better. Because my biggest issue is when you look out at a blob and you're shooting at a blob, somehow magically these other guys can shoot your blob perfectly. When it's a little blob on the screen about like that, you can't really see the character.
So
they don't have. I mean, they've taken out the scoped guns and things like that because of performance issues. I mean, there's just a lot of things that they're not doing because I think their engine can't handle it on that fast-paced 100+ whatever player.
So in your estimation, if they were to improve the frame rate on the game, that would in turn cause players to come back? Would you now let me ask you
this, they'd have to raise the graphics, they'd have to raise the detail
so
level,
you're telling me
if
the game looked better, you would play it?
Yes, because I have a really hard time shooting on that game because for me, I feel like I'm shooting at a pixel, like a couple blobs of pixels at a long distance. I don't get that feeling when I play some of these other games. Like, I feel like I can make out the character and I can see, but you've seen how this game gets. Once you play a lot, or when it was the only game doing it, like, you kind of glazed over it. But when you play another game and then you come back to this one, you realize how blocky and pixelated the characters are at a distance. And it's like, how can I get a headshot when I'm barely making out the fact that where's the head? It's at the top of the blob. That's all I know. And there's these other guys that are memorizing those pixels and they're getting headshots from that distance.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to disagree with you on this dramatically because I don't,
Okay.
I don't think lighting and frame rate.
I don't know that it's going to, I'm not saying it would bring all these players back.
I mean, it's sure as hell is going to bring me back. I mean, I have no interest in playing H1Z1 when they can make the game look fantastic. I mean, they can make it run at 3,000 frames a second on my computer and everything. Every detail would be perfect. I still wouldn't play the game. So I mean, maybe for some players, but I mean, I don't think
there's too much competition now, and I think
that's exactly
issue.
the point, and that's why I don't think them rehauling the entire game to a new engine when we covered it last week, 20-something plus battle royales in the marketplace right now is frankly going to do a whole hell of a lot of anything. Now, if there were 4, you could say, wow, a graphics update may entice and bring people back, but when you can play Apex Legends or Fortnite or PUBG or Realm Royale or any number of these other games that are out, why would you play H1Z1? They are reverting their game back years right now. Why would you play that game?
It's something that was already out of date.
Yes.
Technology-wise.
So
and they're going back even further.
Here's the thing. Brian, I think there's a lot of parallels between what they're doing and what we kind of do. They are that sounds a little weird, but they're building this PS3 for their community. It appears to me that they are not interested in it's not that they're not interested. They realize that they're not going to entice 100,000 new players to come play their game. So what can they do? Yeah. The people that really enjoy the game, they're going to make it the best damn experience. And that's kind of what we do. The survival genre, there's no survival games coming out. We talked about this. There's very few survival games coming out. This genre is hurting right now. But why we're continuing to do this program for the diehards. I mean, that's kind of what it comes down to. And I think that's kind of what they're doing here. The people that really enjoy playing H1Z1 really like PS3, so they're giving that back to the community.
I think they're hoping to also kind of build up the competitive player again. And if they can get people playing in the tournaments and doing that, that will build hype and that will possibly bring people back. That's probably one of the only things, because you're not going to be able to hold it up to something like Apex and say, look at our game versus this game, come play our game. You won't be able to do that. But if they can get a community around it of competitive players, which in turn will get streamers playing it in preparation for competitions and things like that, that is one way that you'll probably get a number of the players back. And I think that that's kind of what they're hedging their bets on.
I agree. And I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Yep. So we'll see where they go with this.
I'm looking forward to see what they could do here, and if it brings back the people that have been crying now for years to bring it back, because that's the test. Kind of like our game of the week. Hey, let's play this game. Where are you? Not playing.
Yeah,
this is what we deal with regularly on that. All right.
Well, and that'll be the thing. I mean, in closing, that'll be the thing of people say, "Oh, I would play it if." And that's the problem. People have said, I will play it if it's like preseason 3. Will they, though? A lot has changed since they originally made that statement. And I think you and I are, you're in agreement with me on this. I don't think that people will actually come back. I think you'll get some people that maybe will try it out to play for a week, but I don't think they'll actually turn around and play.
Same. Yeah. I mean, we've seen this time and time again.
Yep.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
All right, so we got a lot of stuff we can cover.
Your choice, my man. You're steering the ship.
All right, so let's go ahead and let's just cover the Rocket League thing really quick. We did mention it before, but they did have a patch. So now you have your Rocket ID, which has at the lower right hand of the screen, you could click, and it will have a friends list down there. You have your one that is purely for the type of system that you're on. So let's say you're on PC, they will have a list of all the people that you were previously friends with on that system. And then they'll have another tab in there, which actually is for Rocket Friends. So that's the one that's cross console. So you can add people by their Rocket ID, and that will let you be friends with whoever you want. Now we didn't try going between PS4 and Xbox, so I would assume that works, but we'll have to see if someone at some point plays on their Xbox. And then, they're going to be doing a new season. So they're giving out the season 9 rewards. And then they just started season 10 that you can do now. And so if you're interested in that, go and try it out. We have an article in there that also kind of talks about it a little bit with on PC Gamer. Actually talks about some of the changes that they made to the time scaling and things. I think so that it would correctly go between consoles, PC, two different consoles, PC. So they kind of went to the more technical side of what they had to do to get the timing to work out between them. So if you want to read about that, you're more than welcome to, and it'll be in our show notes.
All right. Yep. Check that out. Let's cover Apex real quick here. This should be pretty quick. They've actually got a new weapon out, and
Yes.
they're kind of taking the Fortnite approach in making videos for a lot of this stuff, which is neat. So they've got a quick video here, and then we'll discuss.
Havoc rifle here. Sorry you died. Did you have as much fun as me? Thank you. Got him.
Thanks.
I think there's enemies in the area.
Target over there. Moving on them, yeah.
Target spotted.
Making contact with enemy.
Also spotted.
Select fire.
Surprise.
All right, so that's the trailer for the new the Havoc. Couple quick things. We're not going to go get crazy far into it, but it does shoot energy ammo, which is one of the sparsest ammos in the game.
Yeah.
And it's got a couple of interesting modes. It is the first gun in the game that can use multiple hop-up attachments, which are kind of like buffs for your guns that you can find throughout the game. And they're specific, unlike attachments, they're specifically limited to certain weapons. So you will find hop-ups for the shotgun or for specific guns. So this one's got two of them, which is interesting. And you can only run one at a time. The first one is called Turbocharger, which is kind of gets rid of the auto fire charge up time that is built into the gun. So it eliminates a lot of that, essentially allowing you to shoot almost instantaneously, which is the attachment. The charge up time is you have to hold your sight on the enemy and the energy charges up before it shoots, which they say is an interesting mechanic. And then they've got a second mode on here, or a second hop up that they're calling Select Fire Receiver, which allows you to select the hit scan charge beam, which is that system that we're talking about. It's a beam where you hold it on the enemy and it charges a beam up, and it's kind of like a Halo weapon where it's kind of doing a charge up. You don't lead your target, you hold it on your target directly. And that's how that system works. So if you're interested in reading more about that, they did a terrible job explaining how these work. I had to watch a video to figure it out because it's uncomprehendable in their article here. It doesn't make sense. So fortunately, I watched a video of somebody that was actually using it, and that explained it to me, because they did not do a good job of describing either of these attachments, hop-ups in here. So
yeah, because from what they said, I had no clue exactly what I knew it was attachment, but I was like, okay, hop up. All right, that doesn't mean anything. They could have said hop up, which is this.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't do a very good job with that, but it's fine. They're still trying to figure out the community management part of this. So this is kind of cool for gun. They even say in here, I think it's in here, maybe it was in the video. Maybe it's not. They said that, this is a mechanic that doesn't exist in this game right now. This kind of charge up feature.
First one.
It's the first one to do that. So that's pretty cool. So we've got that from Apex. I actually haven't played any Apex over the past week. I'm not gonna say unfortunately. I have been dragged into the deep depths of League of Legends over the past 2 weeks, and that's been taking up a lot of my free time. So we'll
They've converted you.
yeah, I haven't been converted, but like anything else, you play it for a little while, get sick of it, and then move on to something else. So I haven't played any Apex over the past week, but the Havoc is in there. You can go check it out again. It shoots energy ammo, and it is an assault rifle, so you can check that out.
Another thing that they've had with Apex is a little bit of controversy regarding the hitboxes. I don't know if you've seen any of this.
I have, yeah.
But so the first thing that kind of tipped off is I think PH had posted a link, an image that showed the kind of the square area of each of the hitboxes. So from the Wraith down to Gibraltar, they showed that the Gibraltar is 140% larger area as far as the hitbox. Generally in games, they try to keep the hitboxes mostly the same. Because you don't want it to have to where, okay, well, you definitely always use this one character because it's so much more difficult to shoot that character. It has a much smaller area that the player has to hit, because these hitboxes are very accurate as far generally for a lot of the characters, to where if you were to shoot between their feet, unless there's an area between the legs that you could actually shoot at and it wouldn't be a hit. But the thing is, they switched it then over to, I think, the robot, and for him, it was doing hits, except for a very, very small area. It was still hitting, even though in the scope and visually it shouldn't have been hitting. So there's a definite issue with how the hitboxes are currently. I think for them, the smartest thing would be to come up with a more generic, because you don't want hitboxes being based on future skins that they might sell, or maybe you have a hat that has, or a helmet that has something coming off of it. You don't want those causing hits on your character.
No, you don't want those, but you don't want all the characters to be the same size in terms of their hitbox either. I mean, Overwatch deals with this. Overwatch's hitbox.
But they need to balance the character's strengths.
Well, they do. Like Gibraltar is the biggest character in the game, but Gibraltar also has a shield when he shoots, as well as a dome that he can put out as a shield. So I don't.
Well, and that makes sense to where it being larger, but my main concern is the inconsistency of
that
the
is a problem. Yeah,
they need to have it be where if you see it on the character, if I shoot at the character and visually it hit a spot that should be a hit, I want that to hit. If it went to the side, I don't want that being a hit. Even I don't know if they're making up for, here's what the hitbox should be for balance. They need to then figure out a way to make the character consume that area and make that the hitbox. If they made a character that's too small but they didn't balance the character out, they need to figure that out and actually fix it, rather than in a hidden manner make the hitbox bigger. So I don't know. I think with this, they probably made the character beforehand during testing, made all the hitboxes, and then maybe the art department went in and said, hey, here's the character that we want. And in the end, they didn't switch all the hitboxes and things out. So they're going to have to figure out how they do that. Either make the character, let's say the robot character, maybe they felt him having the smaller hitbox made him too powerful.
Okay.
They need to weaken him down and then give him a smaller hitbox. But right now, there's a video that you can check out, and it's in one of those articles, but you can see him shooting at the character, and where on one character it would have missed on that right there. You can see between the legs, he's shooting, it's not hitting, and it's very accurate. Like within a very close range, he's able to shoot, and it's not doing a hit. Now here in a second, he's actually going to switch to that robot character, and he'll start shooting at him. Now he's still on the first one, yeah. So here you go. You can see the robot. So he will start to shoot at him.
I love these videos. It's frozen. I mean, it says it's playing, but there
you go. So he actually starts shooting at it, and it's doing, so it doesn't do blood, it does sparks, but you're able to see that it's doing sparks and things in an area that it shouldn't be. Like it's way to the side there.
Yeah.
You see that? Like he's not even shooting where the other one was incredibly accurate. That one, he's shooting in a open area around it, and it's registering hits.
Interesting.
So there's definitely an issue.
Well, I'm glad people are doing this this in-depth stuff.
At least they're doing the test, figuring it out. Maybe this how does this really make a huge difference in the game? Probably not. But I think people they want to know. Like, I guess as you get better and better, you know exactly where you can be. Like, you start to memorize, I'm out of sight if I'm right here. Well, if really your part of your body's around the corner, that could make a difference.
Yeah.
Right now, I think everybody's newer and you don't notice it as much. But I think at some point that will make a difference, and they're gonna need to figure that out.
Absolutely. Well, good stuff. Good stuff with Apex.
Oh, and one thing is they did hint at a bunch of new characters. So inside of there's 11 leaked character names that people are kind of looking at and trying to figure out based on the names, what do they think the different abilities will be. So we don't need to go into those, but people are digging into the files because a lot of these things they're kind of leaving in the files because they're developing it and they're not cleaning it all up.
I think that may be part of the what they're doing.
Marketing?
Not marketing, but I mean they've leaked damn near everything through game files, so I can't imagine that these are super top secret things.
I think they realize people are doing it.
And they're just
Daybreak, I think, hated that we did it, that we went through and sometimes dug through their files. I don't think they actually liked it. But I think these guys are kind of using it to their advantage. Like, hey, let's throw these names in there, and then it'll get leaked, and they'll get articles all over Kotaku and all these places. Yeah. I think they know what they're doing. So, if it works, you might as well do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So that's Apex. We did that. What else do we have?
Well, let's talk a little bit about Red Dead here, because we haven't talked about Red Dead in a while.
This game is kind of survival-ish.
Yes, actually, I think it is. Personally, I mean, if you look at it, it's got all the elements. But this is for Red Dead Online. They actually did another update. There is a video. I don't know if you want to play that. Mm-hmm. But this has to do with, they did world enhancements, modes, and then did some updates and fixes. So here's a video kind of introducing that.
This land is full of scum.
Don't overly concern yourself with pity.
That's way out of my jurisdiction.
Isn't it also romantic?
All right. Yeah, it's a cool trailer and all. I think they've kind of missed I think the boat has kind of sailed on the Red Dead multiplayer. I think it would have been maybe cool to have it available when they released the original multiplayer beta, which was kind of when a lot of people were finishing the campaign. Like, I think you'd finished the campaign right around that time. And a lot
I think they shouldn't have. I think they shouldn't have done the beta. I think they should have waited on online until it was closer to.
Well, they should have had the release. They should have had the released when they released the beta, because we played it for 2 hours maybe, and we're both like, this sucks. And I have no intentions of going back. I mean, I still haven't finished the main story. And I know you're on to other things now. And here's the thing with Red Dead Redemption. It's a one-time play kind of thing. So you get into the universe, the Red Dead Redemption universe, and it is and I'm experiencing this now trying to get back into the campaign. It is very tough to get back in.
It's hard to come back.
I mean, I almost contemplated, I'm not going to, but I contemplated restarting the campaign.
Yep.
Because it's like I'm out of the universe.
That's how I always felt with GTA. With GTA, because I was doing it so here and there, I always had a hard time getting back into the story, because it's one of those where if you can play it for a long period of time, you continue that story and it builds and it feels like kind of like a movie.
Yeah.
But when you're just doing it little pieces here, one quest here, one quest there, like you never get that linking in your head of how it's all coming together. So for me, I'm glad that I played it all at once. I wish that there was more. I wish that the online would have been more of a continuation of what the single player was, to where I actually felt like I'm continuing the universe. And I still can't really talk about the game because there's anything I talk about spoilers, right?
Yeah.
Because for you you haven't played it all. But I wish they would have continued that universe onto online, to where you just felt like you were playing the single player, but you're just continuing from that point. I wish they would have done that. But on here, they have new fishing challenges that you can do with friends. They have a showdown mode, 3 new showdown modes that they've done, where you can do like capture and deliver bags, steal loot from each other, and survive. And so I think that, and they're calling those Up in Smoke, Spoils of War, and Plunder. Now the thing is the online modes that when we played it, it seemed very repetitive. They didn't have enough variation. I don't want to deliver packages to different locations over and over again and consider that online. Like some of the online stuff they're doing wasn't organized enough to really consider it to be like, oh, here, I'm doing online play. I was just grabbing a package, taking it on a cart, and taking it to one place, and hopefully somebody didn't shoot me along the way. So we'll see. They're gonna have some races on here. They have new weapons that they've added, so the shotgun and a repeater, some new clothing, which I don't really care about, new emotes, which I don't care about. They do now, as far as world enhancements, they've done some improvements to the radar and visibility system, which I think definitely could use. It was kind of a pain to really see where people were, and you just didn't really feel like it was bringing you into kind of a PvP type of situation. But they made it easier to do parlay and feuds. They've enhanced the law and bounty system, and they kind of balance how quickly you get some items. So, and this is on PS4. So if you have a PS4, you can access this now. So this came out today.
Yeah.
So we'll just see if this actually makes me.
It's not. Okay, now will it make you open up and try it? Maybe, but
just to see if there's anything really different.
But here's the thing, Brian, and this, I genuinely feel like this. I mean Rockstar had the attention of the whole gaming industry around Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah. More than a week. You played the game for how long? Probably 2 straight weeks.
Yeah, a couple weeks straight.
Probably closer to 3 weeks. 3 weeks straight. The game had your full attention.
Yep. And
that is now gone, and you're on to other things. And I don't foresee that. I don't foresee that coming back. I mean, you were into the game, right?
Yeah. I think with GTA, they were able to get people in with make a base. You get an apartment, you do all this stuff, and there was kind of that long term. I mean, they don't have bases and stuff really. I mean, you have this camp that kind of randomly gets placed all over the map. Like, what's the long term goal? What am I driving towards? I don't need, I can get better guns, but that's not the thing that really interests me. Is just to have a better gun. I want to have a base, something bigger than a little tent in the middle of nowhere. And so I think that's where they kind of dropped the ball. I think that was part of the drive on the original GTA that people did, is to have something that they go back to and say, hey, look at, this is what I have. This is my hideout.
Yeah.
And they didn't carry that over from the main game.
I wish them the best, but I think at this point their multiplayer is kind of a lost cause. Yep. Which is fine. I mean, I'm not hell bent on them having a multiplayer. I mean, I don't really think people are frankly, I really don't even think people are interested in it long term. I know they want it to be the next GTA, but it's not. It's a Wild West game. It's not GTA. There's no jets, there's no tanks, there's no strippers, there's none of the things.
I think they hit the mark
GTA
on the single player. They hit the mark. I think
absolutely.
They did a really
exceeded
good job
the
with single player. Yes. But I think that online, the elements aren't there to be able to make it happen. And I don't know that they're really, I think they've accepted it. I don't think they're really pushing to, I think they've realized it's not going to be GTA Online. I think they've accepted that. And I think that they're just moving on rather than forcing it.
Agreed. All right. So that's Red Dead Redemption. Kind of nice to hear from them in quite a while.
At least it was an update.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I wanted to give a quick update. Now, this is something with Microsoft.
Okay.
And I saw this. They're actually doing, so they have an incentive program right now. And before we end this conversation, don't jump and start signing yourself up for this yet until you hear what could possibly happen if you do.
Okay.
So what they're doing is they're starting to bring technology that's tailor-made for gaming into Windows. Now, I've told you, remember when I mentioned, I don't know how long ago, that they really want to tackle anti-cheat. They have to do it at the operating system level.
Bingo,
correct?
boom, shakalaka.
And so I think that that's something that, from what I can tell, now they are very vague about this, but from what I can tell, I think that that is kind of the direction that they're going. So what they're asking people to do is, if you want to help test these, they have an early, like an insider program for Windows that allows you to get updates before they're fully vetted. And so they're offering State of Decay, the game, for free if you go onto this Windows Insider program and load up this new update. You'll then have access. You'll get State of Decay for free.
Free game.
Yes, a free game. But the issue that you will have is, if you install this Insider, so this is patch 18.329, if you install this, BattleEye software will not work. So if you play Fortnite, PUBG, just list the games that have BattleEye, it does not work with this build.
Why?
So, because I think that they're integrating anti-cheat as far as securing the process so much that the anti-cheats can't connect into the application. So they're working. It's a BattleEye program. It's a BattleEye issue. BattleEye has to fix this, or has to cooperate. Not that BattleEye has to fix it, because they probably don't know what they need to fix yet.
Yeah.
They need to coordinate with Microsoft and get it to way, all right, well, how do we attach into this process to be able to make this anti-cheat work? So, this is something that, if you're going to do, realize you won't be playing some of your favorite games, because BattleEye is used by a lot of games while you're on this build, and you'll have to go through a whole process to reverse it. It's not just I'm on this build and click off and you're off the build.
Is it not easy can you not just revert back like from the regular Windows updater? Or is this, because this is an insider patch, it's a lot different?
Yeah, it actually takes you to a whole other version of Windows. And I mean, I'm sure there is a process to get back, but it's not just let's uninstall this.
Since you don't,
it's like uninstalling a service pack, pretty much.
So you don't play any of these games. Are you going to update? Do you play any game? You don't play like Fortnite or PUBG.
But I do play games that use BattleEye. So
okay.
So I mean, for me, I don't want to run into things of, okay, now I can't test this, or I can't open this, and I don't care. I already own this game, so
you're gonna be a good test. You can install it on your wife's system. She doesn't play any VR games.
Yeah, that's true. I could just install it on another system. It would give me the game. Of course, it'd be through the Windows Store, but.
No, Brian, no. Even though you use the Epic launcher, the Origin launcher, and the League of Legends launcher, and the Fortnite. Oh, that's the Epic launcher, and the Uplay launcher.
I do have Minecraft through the Windows Store, but I just don't use anything in the Windows Store.
You can't. Even though the account is free, Brian, you can't. Don't ever use the Windows Store. That would be
now. What I hope happens. What I hope happens with Epic is that they start releasing Linux games all for free. And imagine if they were able to ever tie that into a console to where your license is carried over. I know Microsoft and Xbox will never, or PlayStation and Xbox will never allow that. But imagine if you bought something once and you owned it.
Imagine having to use an email and a password to sign up for a free account. That would just be devastating. I couldn't imagine gamers having to do something so dramatic like that. It would be crazy. God forbid. We had to install something. Even though you've got, let's say, probably 6 terabytes worth of storage on your computer and 2 SSDs, you don't have space to install a launcher, an email address and a password. Oh my God. And it's got to have a symbol and an uppercase letter and a number. Wow. It'd be crazy.
So,
Freaking
anyways.
Anyways. Stupid.
So, so just keep in mind that is an issue. So before you jump on, and make sure you maybe do it on a computer that you don't play games on always to be able to claim this, or if you just want to seriously test it. But I think that is the direction that they're going. I'm hoping that they'll have more information on this, but for us to combat the anti-cheat problem going forward, it's going to be, and I said this, I don't know if it was 6 months to a year ago, probably. It's going to have to be Microsoft that's doing this. Microsoft has to tackle this issue. We have discovered anti-cheat and the games themselves cannot do it. And it shouldn't be up to every single game individually tackling it in this manner. Like, why are we having hundreds and hundreds of companies each trying to deal with anti-cheat when you could just have Microsoft do it as best they can at the operating system level?
Yeah, well, that's the key. I mean, and I think Judd mentioned what he said something about kernel, most likely to deal with kernel cheats that are dealing with things in the kernel. So some people
but if they can lock down the process, the thing is they control the process. And when and actually open up the PUBG patch, open up the notes for PUBG, because they actually they are describing what we're talking about right now with pictures in the PUBG patch here. Let's see. And it's labeled anti-cheat. Perfect segue here.
Look at you. You are a professional if I've ever seen one.
Yeah. So if you look at the very top, they kind of show how a hack works.
Okay.
So with pictures. So this will be nice for our visual
for
audience.
me who can't I can't understand anything. I can't comprehend any arguments. So yeah, this is good for me because I'm incompetent. Let's hear it.
So you have the cheat executable that is running at the same time in RAM with the game executable. It tries to interact with the game client, and of course your anti-cheat says no, you can't do that. And so then they do some processes which pretty much mess with the executable process. It confuses the anti-cheat, or it makes it to where it's able to bypass the anti-cheat. It goes in and then will inject using DLLs and things. It'll inject code into the process, and based on this hacking success, it is now able to bypass the anti-cheat. And that is what we are seeing. That's why they're constantly always trying to make changes and banning people after the fact, even though anti-cheat is turned on. But yeah, so this is something that they could do at the operating system level, whether it's sandboxing all processes. If you don't know what sandboxing is, it's when a process runs and other processes are unable to interact with it.
Now,
you do this with browsers so that one tab cannot interact with another tab. That is sandboxing.
Now, what about things like Discord overlays, Brian? Because those put themselves on top of games. If you see a lot of games do that.
That is part of the issue. Is they've whitelisted certain apps. They're trying to make it so that the things that they want to work will work. The other things don't. Maybe it's something with your mouse. Maybe it's even something with your keyboard that is doing something, interacting with the app somehow. If that is going to be an issue going forward, is how do you continue allowing certain things to integrate, whether it's maybe displaying certain LEDs on your keyboard at certain times, or displaying something on an LCD screen on your keyboard. How do you let the app continue to interact with those things, but not be affected by anything else?
Yeah.
So it is going to be a transition by the gaming industry to be able to do this correctly, but it is what's necessary to make it to where they can actually keep these processes from being messed with.
Because it seems like, and I don't want to get super deep into this, but it sounds like if you said like whitelist applications, the three that come to mind are Discord, TeamSpeak, and Overwolf. But then I could envision a world, Brian, where these hackers are the cheat or the hack is actually made for Discord, and because Discord has access to the game, they're somehow able to wiggle their way in through the Discord back door.
Is they can, if they want to not be detected, all you have to do is kind of make yourself look like one of these apps that are whitelisted. And the fact that they have whitelisted apps, things that are allowed to interact with the process,
OBS,
that is the problem.
Yeah, OBS, Judd is pointing out. So
because they want all these things to work, but
yeah,
that opens the door for this.
Well,
so which one is more important?
It's kind of like the two-factor authentication argument that a lot of people make. Is it more secure to have two-factor authentication? Absolutely. But signing into services with two-factor authentication is a pain in the ass. It can be a pain in the ass. Authy, Google Authenticator, text messages.
So I have one of these things.
Oh, for Blizzard?
No, so this is actually for Google. So this is like a real two-step authentication.
Huh.
Yeah.
Can I see your codes?
I'm making sure that there's no code. I turn it around. I'm making sure no codes are actually seen.
Huh.
So I have these things, and this actually it's a YubiKey. Yes.
How much are those?
You're correct. I think it was like 20 something.
Oh, I need to get one of those because Google Authenticator on the phone's a pain in the ass sometimes.
So this actually makes it to where even like there's no chance that somebody. I think that Google started using these internally. There was actually another company that made these things. Google started using these internally, and it pretty much cut out all forms of like false logins. Like they didn't have any more issues. So now they're actually pushing these on their site. I haven't done it because my terror is that I'm somehow going to get locked out of it while I'm setting it up. And so I have it all here and it's ready to go. And I didn't want to do it right before my vacation and not be able to check my emails or do anything.
Report back how that works. I'd be curious. But it's the thing is like, there is the surefire way to get rid of all hacking, and as you said, it would be
it's something like this.
Stop.
It's not as I'm saying it's moving to this level.
But you sandbox the game totally, but now none of your comfort, ease of use things work, like being able to do a game capture inside of OBS, or being able to see who the hell's talking in Discord while you play if you only have one monitor. So it really is you would have to
do all game captures doing full screen, capturing a whole screen and doing full screen all the time, which isn't optimal for everybody.
No, exactly. There's people
that's the temporary workaround that Microsoft's going to have to figure out. How do we work with gaming companies to allow some things to coincide with the operating system? But the thing is, the second that you open up and you start conceding and saying, okay, well, we'll let this one thing go, we'll run into the exact same problem we're at now.
Yeah.
So there's got to be, they're going to have to work at this and figure out, because the hacking is killing the game industry right now. I mean, look at games that should have been fully popular, but you know what? They couldn't deal with the hacking issue, and it killed their game. I mean, companies are going out of business because of hacking. And so, let's talk about PUBG for a minute, since they have a dev letter specifically tailored about anti-cheat. So they go through, and if you want to read in, they go into more detail of exactly how these processes are working. They mention, despite Windows OS blocking unauthorized kernel driver internally, there are many cases where unauthorized kernel drivers are sold as if they are legal.
Bingo.
By exploiting security breaches and illegally traded certificates. So they're finding other ways in. It's not truly locked down. Part of this is fixing the certificate issuance, because there were people who were able to issue certificates based out of places like China that were you could pay them money and you could get certificates named as other people that were named as companies.
Smart.
So they actually verified as a real company that it's supposed to be, which is totally circumventing the system, not how it's supposed to work. So in here, they're going through and they're using machine learning, analyzing how players' patterns work, trying to figure out how to detect when one thing is a computer doing it, as far as aiming and things like that, versus how would a player do it, because they've kind of given up on truly blocking out the hacker itself. Now they're just trying to detect the hacker. They also unauthorized program detection, which they've gotten better at. If you look at their graph here, they have a graph showing the weekly report feedback data from August 23rd to November 30th. I mean, just look at the numbers. Those are huge amounts of reports.
Yeah.
I mean, these are 12 million is the top of one of those. 12 million.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
So they're going through and they're doing hardware bans. You know, people can always complain about hardware bans, but the thing is, cheaters can circumvent hardware bans. They will generate fake hardware IDs, and then some fake numbers being banned, and they turn around and generate a new one after they've been banned.
I like to think I'm a realist when it comes to things, and to believe that that Microsoft or anybody, Easy Anti-Cheat or what was the BattleEye, to believe that any of these programs are going to stop all cheating is insane, because it's not possible. But I'm hoping that they can all work together to circumvent the mass trading of hacks. You probably didn't hear, but did you listen to last week's episode?
No, not the whole thing. I just got the end.
So I covered last week. There were people on YouTube streaming in their title Apex Legends hacks, and they were streaming themselves hacking. You could see it on the screen. ESP, you could see the aimbot in full effect, and they were selling them. And that's on the stream. That's the problem. Is that it's not that the cheating is happening per se. It's that it's so available that anybody with a couple bucks can buy them. So you don't have to. It's not like hacking online for real. It's not like hacking websites and and what you see on the movies. It's not like the movie Hackers. And they're sitting there hacking. It's not like that. Like, any person who knows nothing about computers for the most part can go and pay some money, and then they have something that is hacking. If you said, I'll pay some money so that I can hack the Pentagon, not going to happen. Like, it takes some knowledge. That the problem with this is it doesn't take knowledge. It just takes money. Yeah. And so they have to figure that out. And so another thing that they've been running into is vulnerabilities in the Steam system. So they've had it to where, yes, hacked. Perfect. Circumventing the mainframe, I think is that what you always tell me? No, that's not me.
And so here they're talking about circumventing Steam and the restrictions of accounts that are purchased over a family sharing account, tampering with the playtime. They're able to actually go in and tamper with Steam's playtime, so they actually can refund the games despite having played it for a long period of time.
Jesus, dude.
They're able to use accounts that were banned on a live server to access the test server, then use hacks on that. So, I mean, these are things that they're fighting against. And what they finally have kind of come to is, all right, well, we can't obviously stop everything. So they're starting to take legal action. Now, can you guess where most of these legal actions have happened?
I can't, but I think that's a stupid approach. But China?
So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 10 of the legal actions that happened were in China. The other 2 were in Korea. I would assume South Korea. I don't think North Korea is the biggest game hacking center. So South Korea. So if you look, they arrested 41 people in one, 3 people in another, 11 people in one in China, 141 in one arrest in China for hacking. A single person arrested, another single person, 3 people, 34 people, and then 17 people total between the 2 in Korea. So these are where they're going through and now part of this is they can do this in China. China actually is getting very strict against hacking as far as the government is concerned.
Well, and it's attributing to a moral and like kind of a community code in which your public rank, your credit score, and things are getting dinged based off of your online usage, which is
based
totally
on how you behave.
Something out of a Oh God,
1984.
No, not 1984, but what was that Cyberpunk movie from the 80s? A whole bunch of them. I can't
I
remember
don't
off the
remember,
top.
but yeah.
They just remade it a couple years ago, and I'll think of it. But yeah, like social code, moral code things. That's pretty wild.
Oh yeah, I remember. I know I watched it. And there was also a really good black. What's the name? What's that? Netflix series.
Orange is code.
No. Black something. I can't remember right
I know
now.
what you're talking about. They did make
But they
too. Yeah.
Yeah, so they made one that was about that, to where you would like upvote based on interactions with people, and that was very entertaining. Which kind of is Black Mirror. Thank you, Green Man. Black Mirror, which they had one very much on this, to where this girl like got in trouble for not leaving a bank or like the airport, talking to the airport person. So they said, "Oh, you now have a negative rating, and anything you do here is like multiplied." And so then she had a couple of bad interactions, and then she couldn't even rent a car. And they were trying to say that the credit system is bad. You know, the whole credit ranking system that we have here.
Blade Runner was the movie I was thinking of, by the way. There's
Yes.
a whole bunch of social stuff in Blade Runner, how people are treated. But nevertheless, I don't think. Here's the problem: you may be able to take legal action against people in China and South Korea, but you're not going to take legal action against people in the United States. We've already seen
they'll always
this.
pull out, "Oh, this was grandma's account," and
Yeah.
I mean that's just what always happens.
That's not going to work. So the real solution is to button up as much as Windows can, or just button it down as much as possible, and just I mean it's an ongoing.
They need to lock
end.
down the operating system, and then for the game to launch, you have to make it so where this game requires that you have the operating system running in that mode to where it's locked down. You could have it to where when the game's not running, it's not so restrictive. Whatever it needs to do,
like
doesn't
quarantine mode or something.
But you have to have this mode turned on, and it has to be verified somehow, so that when the game is running, injecting into those processes is not possible. That's what they need to. That's how they need to do it. And whether they will, I don't know.
Interesting.
But I think that's kind of where we're at. So.
Alrighty. Well, good conversation. I think that's. Hacking has clearly destroyed a lot of games. I think PUBG, you could say that a lot of people, myself included, have given up on games like PUBG due to the rampant amount of cheating that takes place.
Yeah, I mean, we saw there that they had 12 million weird interactions, that they registered.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cheaters. The fact that there's 12 million, who knows how many of those are repeats, but obviously there's thousands at least of players that are cheating, and it just ruins the whole feeling of the game when you go in there and it's like, okay, well, I have a 50-50 chance of whether or not I'm gonna have an honest game here, is how I've kind of felt going into that game now. It's a 50-50 chance. Seems like every other game, something weird's happening.
Yeah, agreed.
We've never, since the last time that we did a game of the week with it, like I think every other game we were having something weird happen. And we couldn't do a game of the week without something happening anymore.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Do you have a game you're giving away?
Yes, but I'm gonna have to pull it up so you have to give me.
Okay. Well then, while you're doing that, let's talk about an interesting game that I don't even know why I said interesting. Atlas. Let's see. So last week,
a curious game.
Yeah, I was gonna try to spin it into Brian with sailing, and I didn't make it work. So last week we talked about our last patch. Last week was 18.89. And since then we've had actually a couple of patches here and a couple of updates. Let's see. So leading off from there was version 18.9, which fixed an issue with babies not eating from the inventory/troughs when in stasis. Fixed a bug with alpha creatures. That was 18.9. 18.92 improved the appearance of Storm Cyclone VFX, and then canvases are now free paintable. So I guess I don't know. I guess there's painting canvases that
You don't have to
paint
like
on.
you don't have to like pre-upload a image.
Oh, is that
or
how it was
anything like
working? Okay, I didn't.
that. Well, I don't know. That's how they did it with Arc.
Oh God,
So
that
I'm
was a
assuming-
huge pain. We had to convert.
You're the one who did that.
Yeah,
so-
we put a whole bunch of we built a war room. We had pictures of Harry Truman and everything, and there was atomic bombs. It was fantastic. But yeah, we had to convert it. We had to do some weird art text.
So I think
converter,
now
yeah.
you can use your mouse and free draw.
Well, that's even
on
worse.
different-
I mean, nobody's gonna draw replica images. So that they fixed that. 18.94, they fixed an issue with NPCs not interacting when stationed. 18.95, optimized server spatial octree, which should result in better server performance and reduced stalls, which should be good, especially if you're transforming or transferring rather between zones. Server stalls are, I think, what kind of screw those up in terms of jumping back and forth. 18.97, fixed melee damage application to Army of the Damned. Fixed NPC crews disappearing for a fraction of a second when mounting on cannons. Prevented climbing of the Kraken barrier walls. And then improved the Cyclops movements to allow it to clamber over rocks better, or climb over the rocks. 19.2, 2x harvesting, XP taming, and gold enabled on the official network until yesterday, the 25th of Monday. So they did that. Bookshelves added to organize your maps, blueprints, notes, and songs. Signs/canvases can now be placed on storage boxes. This is big. And bookshelves to help indicate what they're used for. I can't believe that wasn't in there since day one. That is a 7 Days to Die has the exact same problem. You can't. Minecraft does it perfectly. You can put a sign right on the side of a box and say exactly what it is. But for some reason, Atlas didn't have that. So you can label what your boxes are now. Notes added to the game to leave each other messages, so you can leave each other in-game notes, which is a feature a lot of games have. I don't know of anybody that uses them in any games. Company UI now displays last online time for members. Significant server optimization, and then the maximum ship level is now 52. That was 19.2. And finally, bringing us current, as of right now, we are at 19.21. Doubled the maximum server physics sub-steps to maintain more consistent ship movement at lower server frame rates. Can you translate that for me, Brian? What does that mean?
You'd have to say no.
Doubled maximum server physics sub-steps to maintain more consistent ship movement at lower server frame rates.
I mean, so they're making it so that it actually can iterate with the ocean. I mean, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Because you got to think it's on these waves.
Yeah.
And if you look at the waves,
Let's get
it's kind of doing a smooth. Sorry, it was, but it's doing smooth kind of turns down.
Yeah.
Which generally, if you look at things in game, they don't generally smoothly go like that.
No, they go up and down.
Yeah. And so with this, I think they just raised it so that it can do a more smooth down those waves. And so I haven't noticed it being really choppy. I know they've been working a lot on the Ocean code, because on Linux servers, Ocean was just killing the process. I think most of the CPU usage that people are having is probably going towards Ocean right now. And so I think they've been really trying to figure out and tune that. Maybe they made the Ocean a little less accurate, and now they're having to match that. It's hard to say, with their notes, what they're really doing versus what they're telling you. But I know that they're really trying to work on that. But that's why it would be different. They would have to do something like this versus something that's maybe just going down an incline. You have a moving system that an object is sitting on top of and floating like it's in water. That's very difficult to replicate. So they must have found that it wasn't accurate enough, that the way that it was interacting with it and checking. It's probably not accurate enough.
Okay, well, there you go. So that's Atlas. Couple of updates from the week. The big one, which did the harvesting and XP and taming and whatnot. So that brings us up to date with Atlas.
All right, so let's go ahead and we will give away a copy, ! Giveaway in chat, 60 cans, which is 1 hour's worth of watching. And I'm giving away a copy of Hitman, the complete first season. I think I was trying to find this on Steam because they don't really name it, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to put what I think it is. I have this actually on PS4 and played some of the original chapter. It's actually very good. It's a lot of fun. But I don't know if you've ever played the Hitman series, but this has a lot of challenges, a lot of different ways to do. It'll give you a mission, and then there's tons of different ways that you can accomplish it. And so you kind of go through and figure out, and you can redo missions and try to accomplish it in different ways. So it is quite a bit of fun. It has a nice story to it. So
gotcha.
I'll give that away before the end of the show. But this is the complete first season, which has a lot of things on it.
And that's obviously another reason to join us live, which you can do every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure if you're listening to this after the fact that you join us live if you can. We have a good time interacting with the chat. I do want to thank our friend, I think we just pushed right through him, Tech Zone 707, our friend Sean, for hitting us up.
Who was at PAX with us.
He was at PAX, and hopefully he'll be heading out to Seattle with us again this year. We had a really good time out there. As well as our friend Lan Gunn, who was in the chat as well. So, yeah, looking forward to that here.
Very good. All right, so let's just cover really quickly. There was an article put out on character. How do you say it? How do you shorten character?
Char.
Altchar.com.
Okay.
Yes. So this is Cyberpunk pretty much put about a thing saying, we're not going to be exclusive to any store. Even GOG, which I think is kind of linked more to the CD Projekt Red storefront. So they're not even going to be exclusive to their own. They're going to release on everything.
How brave.
So, yes. So Cyberpunk 2077, which, I mean, for them, I don't know why they would do an exclusivity deal when they have their own marketplace. I mean, that doesn't really make any sense. You could do an exclusivity
I
deal.
remember when there were real exclusives, like when if you didn't own the system, Brian, you couldn't play the game. Now we're bitching and complaining about not having an account, a free account on a service. I'm sure you remember exclusives as well, like a game on the PlayStation. If you don't have a PlayStation, you don't play it.
And so they will sell it across all of them. So that's not
this topic.
Not an issue.
This topic triggers me very much so.
Well, in this, they're saying, they could just sell it on GOG and not any percentage. But the thing is, they're looking at it as if it's available everywhere, sell it wherever. They'll pay the 20% whatever on Valve, the 12% on Epic.
That's a stupid business decision, but that's their decision, not mine. If you can, if you could release it yourself and save 10 to 12% per sale, I mean,
the thing is a lot of people don't, but this would be a good chance for them if they're looking to build up the GOG site. This would be the perfect thing. This is a game that a lot of people are waiting for.
This is the prime example of a few people that get really vocal and really pissed off about things, and it is causing companies to make, in my estimation, poor business decisions. This is exactly what we talk about when we talk about the community of a video game saying, we want certain feature, we want certain feature, we want certain feature. If feature gets implemented, nobody likes it.
Yep.
I mean,
well, and if this were, I'm looking forward to this game. And so if it were released on GOG, you know what I would run GOG?
God damn it, Brian. If you want to play the game and it's available, you'll buy it. Why is this so complicated? If you want to play the freaking game and it's only available on a certain platform, you're either going to play the game and buy it or not. How is this so complicated?
I bought my PS4 just to play 2 games.
I mean, Jesus Christ. Why is this such a big fucking deal? It's like, if you don't like the other platform and you don't want to use it, don't buy the damn game. This is unfathomable to me that people are so diehard onto a stupid platform. It makes no sense.
People don't really care. Like, it's just
that's what pisses me off about it. Is I really don't think people care. You have a couple people that will say things like, "I don't want to use another platform," but guess what? Guess what they're doing right now? They're playing Apex. Where is Apex, Brian?
It's not Uplay. Let's see.
What other ones are available?
Try to see, but Uplay. We got GOG, which I've never.
It's not on GOG.
We got battle.net.
It's not on battle.net.
Steam.
It's not
Epic.
on Steam. Epic's not on Epic.
Origin.
It's on Origin. How are 12 million people playing it if it's on a different launcher, Brian? I mean, folks, give it up.
Well, look how many people played Epic. I mean, the numbers of, we got Apex, and then we've got the number of Fortnite players. That's a huge percentage.
Fake numbers. Can't be true. Everybody. It's not on Steam. And if it's not on Steam, I can't play it because I'm a jackass and I can't play games that aren't on Steam. Unless, of course, I want to, right? Because if I want to play League of Legends, I got to use their launcher. If I want to play Apex, I have to use their launcher. And if I want to play Fortnite, I have to use their launcher. But God forbid a game like Cyberpunk says, hey, why don't you use our launcher, which we own, and will save us 10 to 12% per sale, which means we get to make more money, which means we get to put more resources, more staff, and more money into the development of our game. I mean, this is why it doesn't make any sense.
But I think that the thing is because of how these people are acting, now they're scared too.
But that's the problem. It's a vocal minority of people that are scaring the gaming industry. It's ridiculous. Yep. If your game is good enough, case in point, Red Dead Redemption 2, people will buy it on a console. PC gamers will buy it on a console. And the people that say, well, I'm not going to play it. You weren't going to play it anyway. If you really wanted to play the game, you'd buy it.
Yep.
And I cannot wrap my head around this stupid concept.
I just think that this would have been their perfect opportunity to get people to GOG. Now, one thing, maybe with GOG, it's only DRM free. Maybe they want to put a DRM on their game. I mean, that would make sense. This is a big title. Maybe they don't want to put it out there for anyone to copy and use. So maybe that's a reason why they're not putting it on. Whether they have it on GOG, I would be kind of surprised if they actually put it on GOG, because the whole point of GOG is we want this to be DRM free. I think that they see how many people potentially they could sell to. PH is saying it will be available on GOG.
It will be, but it should be an exclusive.
So they'll be having no DRM. So that'll be interesting to see how that works.
I just don't understand why you would, as a company, take a 10 to 12% hit per sale when you were in charge of your own platform. That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, they're just casting a wide net, which I think they have every right to do.
They have every right to do whatever the hell they want. But I'm just thinking from a standpoint of, boy, we could invest an extra. What's the average of 10 to 12?
20%. 20% of the.
No, what's the average of 10%, 12%? 11. We can put an extra 11% into development costs or whatever of the budget, because we're not going to lose that on the back end selling the game.
Yep.
I'm so sick of having to listen to everybody else's opinion on this, but my opinion's invalid because I don't care, because the platforms are free. None of these platforms to this point charge you to use them. Now, if it were you had to pay for Epic's launcher, and if you had to pay for Origin, and if you had to pay for GOG and all these other platforms, it'd be a different conversation. They're all free. They're all available for you to download. All you need is an email address and a password, which if you use the internet, you already have. And if you have a Steam account, you already have. If you have a Twitch account, you already have. Doesn't make any sense. I mean, they're not asking for your firstborn child. They're asking for an email address and a password.
Now, one thing that I see as a benefit out of all this of having multiple launchers is it's not getting things as much exclusive to the launcher itself. So you would have these things that were locked into Steam. They were benefits only of Steam. They were achievements only on Steam. Well, if they want to take advantage of these features and have achievements and all these things, they're going to have to make it so these achievements are universal. And so I think it's making them actually do it correctly and have a universal system, kind of like the universal system now that they have to be able to play between consoles, and rather than just relying purely on Steam's grouping system or purely relying on PS4's grouping system. These companies are realizing for us to be able to work with everyone, we have to put in systems that are compatible across the board. But it's making it so that all these other areas, Let's say you want to have achievements that you can compare with your friend who plays on a PS4, and you want to be able to compare accounts, play together, and get achievements together. When you bundle them into the actual game and not relying on the Steam system, you have the ability to do that.
I'll end with this. The people that complain about using multiple launchers and not having everything on Steam are the exact same people that bitch and complain about having one option for internet service, one option for an ISP. It's the same people. Yeah. We only want Steam. We only want Steam. But then, God damn it, I hate Comcast or Time Warner. They're the worst and they're my only option.
Yep. And at that point, I mean, if you got to the point where you realized Steam was not treating you correctly, maybe got banned, you probably wouldn't want to be limited to Steam. You'd want to be able to buy a game and not be stuck not being able to get it because I'd have to break the terms of service and make a new account.
And at the exact same way that you only have the option in most cases for one internet service provider in their area, they charge whatever price they want, they give you whatever garbage customer service you want, and what they want, and you have no choice, no say. What is your option? You can go get dial-up somewhere, but you're not playing video games on dial-up.
I just think this creates competition, which makes them improve the system. And I think that's hopefully what they'll do with it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that once like Epic, because the thing is, once Epic starts releasing things like, communications and just some of the extra features that they're going to be bundling to kind of give the developers, I'm hoping that then Steam sees that and says, all right, you know what, we're going to improve our system to kind of match it so that people will stay with us. And it creates that back and forth.
Could you imagine a world where Steam started maybe charging the developers less of a percentage? Like maybe 8%?
That would make sense if they want to actually compete, match their competition.
Who would that help
right now?
If Steam charged developers less of a percentage, who would that in the end result help?
I mean, it helped not only the purchasers, but also the developers. The developers, there's reasons why developers are going out of business. They're struggling to make ends meet.
Oh, because paying 12% up front on the cost of your game as an indie studio isn't efficient, Brian?
Plus you have to pay your anti-cheat fee. Plus you have to pay, I mean, the thing, people don't realize how many licensing fees there are to make a game. You have first of all, Steam takes a huge cut. Then you have your anti-cheat fee that you have to pay. Then you have whatever server fees that you're possibly going to have to pay. Then you have an engine fee that you have to pay. And then you also have licensing for your animation software and all these different graphical programs.
Probably a CS suite, a Photoshop suite, something like that. You've got all that stuff.
But then even you have the software that in the professional level that they use to animate and to model characters, model objects. Those fees are really high.
How about staff, Brian? How about office locations? How about power at those locations? I mean, why do you think a company like Miscreated is it can't really grow? I mean, why do you think Miscreated doesn't have 1 billion developers?
Well, and that's the thing.
They're a small company,
especially now,
and they're getting and they're unfortunately having to pay extremely high. Hey, you want to release a game, you're going to release it on Steam as an indie developer for the most part. So you're going to you have to play Steam's game, which includes taking a huge percentage right off the top of the little bit of money you can squeak by, and to make your game.
Yep. And so I think that is something that right now they're not competitive, and that's why I really appreciate Epic coming into the space. I think that people that are complaining are not coming at it from the business side.
It's Discord sells games, Origin sells games, GOG sells games, Ubisoft with Uplay sells games. All these people sell games. Yep. Blizzard and Battle.net sell games. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
And I think that a developer can go to the one that they think suits best. Maybe there's a game that makes sense on Discord because it's done with a community. First of all, some games that are played very much with a community, maybe streamers, they would want a game that actually is tied into Discord, because then they can have people join directly out of Discord and do all these special things, limiting access.
If only we saw and talked to a game in Seattle that was paid by Discord to be an exclusive title. God, if there was only a game like that, Brian, aka last year the Nightmare.
Yeah, I think we talked to him last year, right?
Oh, we did. We did.
And so that, I mean, if you look at that,
they were,
like, there are ones that match that type of a ecosystem. They could go in and they can tailor highly to a game like that. And so I think that that's where people just need to realize that having that option for people to go and wherever the market is best for them. You know, if it's a game that's not sure how well they're going to do, you know, they don't know that they're going to make a bunch of sales, they can go to Steam and possibly not make a single dime and then not be able to continue developing going forward, versus they can go to Epic and they'll have that much more of a budget to work with, to where maybe they can continue to hire some of their people to continue development until player numbers go up.
It's so funny. I've been, over the past 2 weeks now, this season of the Overwatch League has started, and I've been following that. I've been following that a lot closer than I had previously. I've been watching a lot of the matches, and I never hear anybody bitching that Overwatch is only available on the Blizzard launcher, as they've got esports teams from all over the country playing in this tournament. At no point did I hear anybody complain that Overwatch was only available in battle.net. At no point did I hear anybody complain about that. I've never heard anybody complain about that.
And the same thing, they got Destiny on there. They've got, I mean, they have,
how about the new Call of Duty?
The Call of Duty's on there.
Now I'll answer you this honestly, Brian. Did I want to buy it on battle.net? Did I? No, not really. It would be a little more convenient to have it on Steam, right? But I wanted to play Blackout, and it was only available on battle.net. So what did I do? I went over to battle.net and bought it.
Yep. And that's, hey, if that works, that works. And I think that I mean, if people are that against Epic, then they need to quit playing Fortnite. Honestly, I mean, if they're that against, they're already playing a game on the system, they have it installed. Any developer has it installed already. And so they've already got all the ecosystem and the infrastructure to be able to handle transactions and do everything that they're doing. They've pushed the industry so much and they've improved gaming so much. I just don't understand why people think that they have no clue what they're doing on this either. They have dramatically improved the environment for developing games and the level of quality that people are getting in games in the past couple of years. And people don't have no clue. They don't realize that these guys have been so ahead of the curve in almost every decision that they've made up to this point, and then they think that they're doing the wrong thing here. Just to me, it shows that they're not actually looking at the track record of this company.
I don't understand the passion behind it. Is a lot of the anti other launcher people. I don't understand where it comes from. Like, I don't really care if you use the Epic launcher or Steam or Origin or whatever, because it doesn't really bother me. I think it's a stupid argument to make it the others, but I mean it's real passion, and I don't know where that comes from. I mean, if anything, you would want to not have Steam have control of your entire game assets.
Library.
I mean, Brian, you've got literally
with no other option.
You literally have thousands of dollars on Steam. If they decided tomorrow that they no longer wanted to provide you that service, you would be out thousands and thousands of dollars
with no recourse.
No. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Call Steam and cry? You're going to use their live chat?
You tried to sue them, but good luck.
Yeah. What are you going to sue them for? Closing their business?
Yeah.
I mean,
and so that's the issue, is you don't really own your game. So what a lot of people don't realize is you don't own the game. You actually just own a license to be able to use the game.
You don't own your operating system.
They have full control.
Yeah.
They have full control to shut you off when they feel like it. So, yeah. All right. So anyway, so that's CD Projekt, or Cyberpunk, which I am looking forward to. Looks like it'll be an interesting game. Hopefully it's a big open world. And we'll see when that releases. So
yeah, there you go.
All right. So, man, time-wise, we got like 10 minutes.
We do.
Let's talk about, I did play a little bit of XERA this past week.
How'd that go?
This weekend. Went well. So I was running around with Musty and we got killed. So there was actually some PvP that happened, so that was a lot of fun. He did put out a newsletter this past week. I mean, I think it happened 1 week ago. And he actually talked about some of the new assets that they're making. They did bring someone onto the team who worked for Islands of Nine, which was Define Human Studios. And so he is doing some of the graphics, like the new robot. He's doing a new robot design for the game. And also, he shows some on here, some assets that he's swapping out for placeholder assets. So like this is going to be a garage type of a thing, automotive garage, like a workshop. So that's something he's moving forward. The as far as connecting and playing, like it was very smooth. Didn't have any lag issues. Played very well. So I'm sure he'll be doing another open play test that you'll be able to be in. He did put out a patch. So after each of those play tests, he puts out a patch kind of based on some of the feedback and things that he gets. So 0.27 he put out, which fixed some issues with like slots, kind of changed how the amount of XP that's given to balance that out a little bit, fixed a UI issue, fixed some issues with the inventory, fixed an issue with the helicopters, supply drops, and then fixed like some floating things on the map and some little issues there. So that is the latest update, 0.2.7, and that was done earlier today. So he did the open play test last week, over the weekend, and then fixed some of those things right away. So I think he's going to be doing another one, but we'll keep in contact with him. I'm not sure if he has another one coming up this weekend, but the next one that I see him announce, so I'll go ahead and we'll bring it up here, and so hopefully people can jump in and play a little bit.
Yeah. And get your code if you want a code. It's actually in our Discord. I think it's under the announcements channel. I think I saw it this past week. You can go in there, click on the link, and
okay. So actually, I found the date. So it's not going to be this coming weekend.
Okay.
It'll be on the 8th of March. So that'll be pretty much a week and a half from now. So if you want to cooperate and be a part of that one, we do have a link on our Discord to be able to join into that, and you can go in and play for free. Try it out.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, Unturned. Let's talk a little bit about Unturned, because that's something I want to show a little bit with it. So he did put out 2 patches. Mostly he upgraded the version of Unity recently. He's updating, some of the software that kind of goes with .NET, which is a Windows software. Did some fixes, added some additional abilities, as far as settings and things like that. But he also did a video showing the new version 2 that he's doing under Unreal. And so I don't know if you want to play a little bit of that, just kind of get an idea. I was going through and just kind of seeing some of the features that he's implemented, and there's some pretty cool stuff that you don't always see. I don't know if you want to kind of skip forward. Yeah, right there where he's kind of going through the snow. You can see that it leaves tracks in the snow. Does a really good job.
Yeah.
With splatters, so you can drive around, and actually the tracks will stay unless it's snowing. If it's snowing, the tracks will then start to get covered by snow, and they'll go away. And you can see that he did a really good occlusion system here, where if there's an object above, that it doesn't put snow on the ground. So if you have an overhang or something like that, it won't have snow everywhere. So he's been going through, just looking at his code. He's doing all the right things, which is good. He's putting in all the features. He's doing a good job from what I can see so far, kind of building it up from scratch. Because honestly, going from Unity over to this, he did mention in this video that he is appreciated and he's enjoying Unreal much more, because Unity is a closed sourced engine, which means that he can't go in and make tweaks and fixes to the engine. Unreal, you actually can get the source code and improve the engine itself. So that's one thing he said that he really enjoyed. He's actually had some things he's been able to implement and improve in this version, because he's able to go in and make changes to the engine itself. So he's just kind of showing off You can see that even there's like character tracks when you walk. It shows the snow there. And so yeah, so it this is kind of where he's at so far with it.
This looks awesome. It's kind of cool to see the fact that he's these trees clearly he didn't make, but mix that with because he's keeping the block look of the game, and it's funny to see this block car and the block character mixed with like the
more realistic
the realistic trees because he's just screwing around with stuff in the engine, which is cool. I mean, it looks good, man. This is as my friend Dave is saying in the chat, Unturned is a lot of fun. It's a very hard game, and that's why people don't like to play it. But it's got solid mechanics, and it's a lot of fun.
He really found a lot of the limitations of the engine in Unity. And if you look here, like, I mean, just look at the tracks. Like,
that's cool.
He probably would have really struggled to get that done in Unity more, looking like that. And I think just the engine itself allows for some of these things with particle effects and everything to just work a lot better.
Yeah,
so it looks good. I mean, he did a really good job.
To go up the hill right there in the snow. That's pretty cool.
Yep. So this will be Unturned 2.
Cool, yeah.
There is a blog that you can go check out if you want to see some of it. But he's been just hammering away at it and still doing patches to the original Unturned still. So that is good.
One man show. You know, I thought he followed us on Twitter this week, and I was like, damn, I thought he already followed us. He's got a couple of parody accounts,
secondary accounts.
No, not secondary accounts, parody accounts, where people people have make parody accounts of him, and they just tweet things out as a parody account. And I thought that was funny. You know, you've hit a level of success when people
mimicking accounts.
Yeah.
Now, PH posted a link to a Unity one, but if you look, like, it's just not nearly as nice looking. That's what I was saying. You can make it, but like, he's not to the level and the detail that he is doing it under Unreal. Because you can usually look at a game and you're like, oh, that's a Unity game right there. We were looking at one of your Storm Chaser games here earlier, and just look at it, and I'm like, that is a Unity game. Just, you can tell right off the bat.
Don't hate Outbreak, Brian. You're just jealous.
Yeah. And so, so actually, there's number of other games that we didn't cover. I almost would rather kind of show some games that are going to be coming out soon, some that were announced this week, since we don't have very much time.
Yeah, we still got some time if you want to keep going with stuff.
Okay, so there's a game called Satisfactory. I don't know if you played, what's that game that Saul always
Factorio?
Factorio, yes.
Oh, okay.
That, because they have locked themselves into the $30 price, I'm not buying it.
I will never buy it either. Screw them. And guess what? That's my decision to make. Isn't that great?
Yep. And so here, this other group is making a game that has similar features to it, but it is 3D and it's much more detailed. It's not just a big overhead view. And so you can actually sign up if you want to be part of the closed alpha. I have a link in here that you can click, and it will let you sign up. You can put your email address in there and be a part of it. So, so yeah, this is Satisfactory, and you can see, like, towards the end of this video that you're playing right now, you'll see here in a minute where it really starts to branch out and start to look like Factorio, as far as having all these conveyor belts and everything just going crazy. I mean, it's like Factorio. Like, Saul should love this game.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's Factorio, but to a whole new level and a lot more immersive. So looks pretty cool. So Satisfactory.
That does look pretty cool. I agree.
So I did sign up. Make sure you sign up as well. And then another one that was announced.
I'll just complain after the fact that I don't have access to it.
That you don't have. I know you will. There's another one that was announced that's going to be coming out in a couple of weeks to a kind of an open beta. And this is called Outlaws of the Old West. There's a video for it. I think, did I put that on there? No. Sorry. But there's a video that kind of shows a preview for it. Let me see if I can grab that.
I'm trying to play the Steam video, and it is...
Steam videos never seem to...
load correctly. Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Is it working for you?
Yeah, we can play this. So this is an interesting looking game.
Yes. So this, I mean, they're kind of going off the popularity and some of the things that are in Red Dead Redemption, but I think they're taking it more to a survival feel and look.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Hold on. I forwarded through that too quickly.
Skipper.
Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. You're building like a
So
full
it's got
on Wild West house.
You can build a full on Wild West house. It's got kind of the Rust style of gathering materials.
Yeah.
You've got combat.
Did we look at this once already?
Not this one, I don't think.
Okay.
There was another one like Heat that came out that wasn't taken very well. Then there was another Wild West Online. So this, I mean, if you look, it looks like it could be pretty interesting. It just depends on, does it actually run like this? You know, how much of this is pre-set up scenes that they've done. But this is going to be coming out in like 2 weeks. They'll have an open beta that you can get a part of it.
Oh, cool.
But it looks pretty interesting so far. It looks like they've got a decent base building system. Looks like it has some kind of storyline that it does. I don't know. It could be for people that didn't get out of Red Dead Redemption Online what they were hoping for. This may be kind of maybe they don't have a PS4. This could be an interesting thing they could do instead. And this is actually being published by the same company that published Ark.
Oh, really?
That Basement Studios, right? Or Basement? What was it?
Virtual Basement.
Remember that one? Virtual Basement. Yes.
They published Ark.
Well, they're one. I think it was a publisher. I don't.
Whatever
they are to them.
Okay. Yeah.
They're behind this game as well. So.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. So
Ark. Yeah.
Interesting.
They published all the Ark stuff. Interesting.
Yeah. So. So this is a game that will be coming out. So if you're interested in that, I keep saying a Wild West. You know, they'll have a Western sort of this is a Western survival game. I think probably one of the more complete Western survival games that we've seen so far.
Yeah, I would agree.
That's my prediction. I haven't seen one that looks like it has this many features and is clean and actually is a survival game. So we will see.
All right.
Yeah, and PH is bringing up Heat. I looked at Heat and it just looked like it wasn't great. So
that's the unfortunate reality. Lots of games out there, but they're not all up to snuff, right?
Yep, not yet. All right. So, is there anything else? How are we on time?
I mean, we've got as much time. I mean, we got a couple minutes if you'd like to cover a thing or two.
Okay, so let's go to the
call.
Okay, let's go to the dev. There's a dev letter for ROE.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they did do a number of patches, but I just wanted to go into more of the generics of some of the things that they're talking about. One thing is they said that they, of course, every game development studio says we're continuing to develop and improve upon our game. Work on anti-cheat, the same thing. But what they're doing is they are actually on this one overhauling the ADS, so the aim down sight firing animation and things for all the weapons to make them feel more realistic and more impactful. So that'll be kind of a bigger change that you might see. The weapon parameters will be untouched though. So this is purely a visual improvement to how the ADS works. It's not going to actually change how the function is. Also, they're making improvements to their 64-bit client and the DirectX 12 development. They go in here saying that they use their own in-house, and this is a fairly young engine, they said, because it's something that it hasn't been out for a very long time. It's Quicksilver X. And they said there are some imperfections in the technology, but the advantage of them having their own engine is that they can upgrade it and develop various engine features targeted for the specific needs of the game. And I guess that is kind of what I just said with Unreal, a very similar thing. With Unreal, you have access to the source code, so you actually can make improvements to the engine. With Unity, you cannot. So it's kind of like, that's why Unity games generally look like Unity games, because you can't go in and change the engine so much. So on here, they've launched the Adventure Season 2. They added the Europa map and some new systems to the game. But the DirectX 12 upgrade that they're doing, they've been working on that. They say at full speed. They're trying to pretty much overhaul it. And as soon as that's ready, they'll release and you'll see a performance boost because DirectX 12 does perform better than DirectX 9 and DirectX 11. They're going to do some improvements to the anti-aliasing, which should visually make the things look more smooth and kind of probably less harsh edges, which is really what aliasing does. They should have said pretty much it'll make it look smoother. They're going to be doing optimizations related to 10 Protect, which is their in-house anti-cheat system, and administrator privileges. So they said there's an administrator permissions pop-up window that some players see when they're loading. So they're working on removing that, and then just making it so the anti-cheat system works better, and then having some limited time modes that they're putting in there that so pretty much you could test and see, is there something we want to put on here full time? PUBG did the exact same thing. They've added in a number of new weapons and been balancing the weapons, putting in weapon skins. That's something newer. They're putting in 3 new characters to it. They're having some in-game events coming up here soon. They're doing esports with this now. So these are all things that they're talking about. If you want to read this whole letter, you can.
Yeah.
But they've been doing a good job. I mean, ROE is pretty solid, the performance that they've been putting in as far as building this game. They've added a lot of new characters, added new weapons, new maps. Like, I think they're probably one of the more underappreciated games here recently, because look at how much they've been putting out that just people aren't always talking about. But they play it. So, all right. I think that other than that, I'll just mention some of the games that have had updates. So the Long Dark put out a set of fixes this past week. The Black Death put out some fixes and things because they've been doing this thing called Expedition, and they're on phase 2 of that. Of course, you went over all the Atlas things. SCUM put out a patch. We can talk really quickly about they talked about their roadmap. So kind of having a 3-month roadmap for SCUM. One thing is they've been adding vehicles. They're going over, and they're going to be working on making the inventory system a little bit more user friendly.
Oh, really?
Because right now it's kind of a clunky system that they have currently.
It's an ARMA system.
And so, yes. And so they're overhauling the inventory system for that. Also, they're working on having a base building system, which I know a lot of people have been working on. So they said that the very first version will be basic. But you know what? You'll be able to build a house using a blueprint in that, same way that you build a shelter. And then they're going to be adding in to where you can actually do more complicated things. One thing that they're adding in a quarry, a mine, a mental hospital, an old castle, a salt mine, and an observatory, and a whole new city that they're going to be putting in. So they'll actually have urban assets, not all kind of out in the middle of nowhere, small town type of things. Yeah, they're going to be putting in just some extra things with like a quiver and visual type of things like that. They are kind of postponing the female character. And so they are still working on it, but I think that they found some other priorities that they're working on first, but they will be putting out a female character. And so, yeah, I think that's most of it. But they're going to be doing seasons as well. So this will be interesting. So they'll have snow. They had snow with the Christmas update that they did, but they're also going to be now putting in seasons into the game so that you'll actually be able to experience those throughout not just at one time of the year.
PH in chat is saying, still don't know why anyone would ever want to recreate the ARMA inventory system or even the movement. It's almost like they don't play games. Yeah, I guess some people, I can only assume.
PUBG did it, and I couldn't figure out why they did it. Why would you copy the ARMA system?
I can only assume that people must like it, because a lot of games do use it, and a lot of games have copied it. I can only assume some people like it. I found it to be a total turnoff, and I found it a total turnoff with SCUM. I, first of all, wasn't super hyped to play the game anyway, because it was cool that it came out, but it was very lackluster on launch. And you got to deal with this garbage inventory system. It was like, nope, pass. And I think I played 2 hours.
They need to get a good set of features and get a community built up that plays it, and then maybe you'll get sucked in at some point. But right now, it's like they haven't put in anything that's like, oh, I need to play that.
You know what I've noticed though, Brian, is that I have yet to really be sucked into a game post-launch. I can think of Ark. We got sucked into Ark late. That wasn't on launch. Yep. But outside of that, that's a tough thing. I mean, I think
now you're at a period where you have to get them on that hook, that initial hook. Like,
yeah.
Even the fact that Red Dead, I don't think they can ever recover with their online because it was such a poor launch. That big of a studio, if they can't do it, it's going to be tough for any of these other companies or small development studios to do it. You have to have them day one, just like you did with Apex.
Yeah.
And then they have to hold it. You can't do like what PUBG did of constantly having servers crashing and having unplayable times, and just people won't come back anymore. With PUBG, it was one of the only games available at that time that was that style. And so people kept coming back to it for a while. But you know what? People don't have to anymore, and they won't. They just say, all right, this doesn't work, I'm moving on. Just like this Wild West game. If they can't have something that's totally presentable in the beginning that's fun, people will play it, or a set of people will play it. People then start reading the reviews on Steam, and then they will move on. Because they'll be like, no, never mind.
And unfortunately,
they'll never get it back.
Unfortunately, we've had to beat this with a dead horse. Beat this like a dead horse, because I don't understand why we're not having final product releases when we see it work so well. We saw it work great with Apex.
Anthem. I mean, if you want to dig in, look at what's happening with Anthem. I mean, this is a AAA studio releasing this, but look at how they've dropped the ball, and they're already dropping the prices on it, and the thing just got released.
Look at Fallout 76.
Fallout 76 is another perfect example. That should have been a huge game that people are talking about and playing for a long period of time. You know what? They dropped the ball day one, and they're not going to get all those people hyped again about it.
Yeah.
Nowadays you have to solidly release day one.
Some days I wish we could just do more of a general gaming podcast, because I think we could do it 2 hours on Anthem.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole Anthem thing is
that's just a mess.
Quite interesting.
Yep.
To say the least.
All right. And then other than that, we had Elite Dangerous put out a patch. They are going kind of moving towards some new content and things. So as soon as they start to release those things, I think we'll have some cool things to show.
All right.
But they are continuing to patch for that. Rust, of course, put out a video with some new things. You can check that out. Life is Feudal put out some patches, and they've been putting a lot of content. So if you're into Life is Feudal, you're probably already playing it because it's the only game you play. The Darwin Project. Yeah, you don't have time for anything else. We're just listing these off. So there's a lot of stuff we didn't cover. The Darwin Project put out a patch with some pretty cool stuff in it. 7 Days to Die put out their 17.2. Funcom, actually, let's talk about this really quick, because I can't just...
crap, yeah, we went right by that.
Funcom actually got in a deal to where they're going to be making a Dune game. So I don't know if people are really into Dune, but that's a whole crazy universe that you could do a lot of lore on.
Yeah.
So for people who really like lore and they like that kind of a unique world, then hopefully they locked into a 6-year deal with them, and so they'll be releasing a Dune game and a kind of like an open world multiplayer. So the Dune game is an MMO, so it should be a lot of players, should be a big open world. The thing with Sand, so PH, I'm not saying Doom, Dune, D-U-N-E.
D-U-N-E.
So Dune, it's a set of books. They have some movies. Pretty cool world that they have. It's similar to Cyberpunk as far as the depth of the world and all the stuff that's going on. They're also going to be releasing their Conan Unconquered in the next probably 3-4 months. And that's an RTS. And then, of course, they did do the Mutant Year Zero that they released. And their revenues for this quarter over quarter is up 166%. So they're obviously doing well. That's their most profitable from us. Remember us talking about it, almost going out of business.
Not just us. They said we literally were going out of business if Conan Exiles didn't sell well. Unfortunately, it did, because now they've signed this massive. I don't know. Is it a licensing deal? I don't know how that works with Dune to hold the IP.
Exclusive partnership.
Okay, so
it's a 6-year exclusive partnership to build at least 3 PC/console games based in the Dune I gotta make sure I don't say Doom now.
Are you
Dune
drunk?
universe. No, it's just,
the
it's hard to keep
16
saying Dune.
exclusive games in the Dune universe.
There we go. So so they're going to have at least 3 games that are purely based on that universe over 6 years. So
Cool.
it should be pretty interesting to see what they come up with.
Yeah, good on Funcom. We like the guys over there. They've been very very nice to us over the past couple of years, and they did a hell of a job with Conan Exiles. They really did.
Yep. And so I think that they're hoping to kind of repeat that. And they did a really good job with kind of the open world desert. It'll be interesting to see where they go from there, because if you look at desert is kind of like ocean in that you can have a big open space of desert and it's acceptable. And so you can get away with really big worlds without having a ton of objects everywhere, right? That's why they were able to make such a large map with Atlas. It's because there's a lot of open area. So I think with the desert, it really opens you up to do a really big map that could be really interesting, because you're okay with having pockets of stuff that you're working. I mean, that's part of the game, is you traversing, kind of like that game that we showed however many weeks ago, where you're traversing from one place to another and you just have to survive that trek in between. I think they could come up with some pretty cool survival type of aspects to it. So we'll have to see. So that should be happening. They just kind of nailed down that deal. So we'll see what happens. And I think that pretty much covers, I think that's everything that we meant to talk about.
Coolio. All right. Well, with that being said, let's turn our attention to math, Brian. Let's talk about some current players and whose games and who's currently playing them. Let's start it off with King of the Kill, H1Z1 Battle Royale, Z1 Battle, whatever it's called now. Currently playing 658 players, the 24-hour peak 1,177 with a 7-day peak of 1,735. Moving on over to Ark Survival Evolved, currently playing 24,746, your 24-hour peak 35,609 with a 7-day peak of 47,388. We talked a little bit about it today, so I thought I'd bring it up here. Unturned still has a pretty solid player base, Brian. 6,518 people currently playing. The 24-hour peak, 11,772, with a 7-day peak of 17,629. Moving on over to PUBG. Their current player number is wrong or off again. Every couple Tuesdays, this number is incredibly low. It says 17,000 people, but normally that number is in the 80,000 people. It's normally in that range. So not sure what's going on with that, but the 24-hour peak is 833,538. The 7-day peak is 931,754. And finally, struggling to now break the 10,000 player mark, Atlas, currently playing 7,968. The 24-hour peak, 10,479, with a 7-day peak shy of 15,000 at 14,433. And that is current players. And as we predicted, ding, Atlas, it won't take long for Atlas to, I think, cease to exist in terms of player base.
The issue is people will play and then they say, and then what? With Ark, there was kind of an and then what?
There is
they they had really good base building system, and they had dinosaurs you can continue to do all these extra things on, and then they added even more after that. There was always, here's what I do next. That wasn't the exact same thing. With Atlas, there's only one real thing to do, right? I mean, there's a very narrow trajectory of things you can do over time with Atlas, and I think they really dropped the ball with that, claiming that it's kind of an open world game that looked like it had NPCs and maybe some lore and some things to it that didn't really happen. Didn't seem to happen. So we will see. Hopefully they start to add some things in there and make it more fun. I just haven't felt the desire to log in. I mean, what's the point? Like, what am I going to go do in there?
I feel the same way.
No one else is playing.
Yeah.
I can play on my own private server, but if on the public servers, like, you have to have a large group, and I don't want to play with those big groups doing all that stuff, and there's no point. So
there you go.
So we will see. All right. So let's go ahead and let's go on to tip of the week, where either I give a general gaming tip or one for a specific game. I haven't done a general gaming tip for a while, so I thought I would do that. So this is tip of the week. All right. So if you're sitting in front of your computer, you can have serious side effects on your eyes. And one way that you can do that is to actually try to mitigate that damage by turning on a feature in Windows 10 called night mode.
Oh.
It will actually, if you just go to the lower right, there's a thing called night light. You turn that on, and it will remove a lot of the blue light that your monitor is putting out, because that is the damaging light. So this will reduce eye strain and, as I said, remove that blue light from the display of the monitor, a lot of it. The wavelengths of the blue light is much more what they call energetic, and so it actually causes damage to the photoreceptors on your eyes. Your eye doesn't have as easy of a time filtering out the blue light versus the green and the red light. It's able to filter those out. It doesn't do as good of a job with the blue light. So this blue light, your eyes don't handle as well, and it will cause eye issues over time. And a lot of people, if you are on a computer all the time, I've got glasses that I use that will remove some blue light.
Hold those up again.
And
oh, okay.
So these I don't have eye problems. Right?
That's what I saw when you first connected via video today. I saw you with your glasses on. I was like, oh, look at this guy.
Yeah. So what it does is it removes some of the blue light, which is the most damaging light on your eyes. I pretty much, whenever I'm sitting at my computer now, other than when I'm doing the podcast, I have this turned on now. And it has helped me have a lot less eye strain. One downside, so one reason that they do blue light during the day is because it makes you feel more energetic and it's more likely to keep you awake. And then you can have this to where at night it starts to change the color temperature and actually kind of prepares your mind for sleep, and it will make it so you have an easier time going to sleep at night. So that is one benefit, but I keep mine on all the time just because I'm in front of a monitor so much now that I don't want, I started having eye issues to where I was having trouble focusing on things close. I went into the eye doctor and he says it's because I'm sitting in front of the computer focusing so much that I'm starting to have eye issues. So I made these changes to kind of mitigate that. But if you're not having issues yet, turn some of these things on, because, you know, when I was doing more IT work, I wasn't sitting in front of a computer staring at one thing so much all the time. I was moving around, driving a lot during the day. But if you're in front of a computer all the time, this is almost a must that you need to do this, because it can have a very negative effect on your eyes over time.
Can I give a bonus tip?
Yes, go ahead.
Do the same thing on it's built into iOS too. The night mode is built into iOS, and I'm sure Android too. Turn that on as well. And that's useful too, especially if you're somebody that browses like Reddit or Twitter
when you're in bed.
Which I've got a terrible habit of. Oh, I'm tired. Let me go lay in bed and then browse the internet for an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's what my wife does
with the really harsh blue light. It wakes you back up. So yeah, turn that on.
So turn those things on, and just whatever you can do to kind of mitigate that. I think they're going to start having more monitors. I've seen that some companies have been discussing having monitors that in the monitor itself, it kind of follows the time and will change the display in the monitor so that there's less damage on your eyes. But this is a big issue that a lot of people are having now. So if you haven't ever heard of this and you're in front of a computer at least 5 hours a day, make sure that you turn this on, because it will help you a lot with your eyes. So that is tip of the week.
All right. Thank you very much, Brian.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and roll for this.
All right.
Gotta get the correct window up. And Zerali is a.
I don't remember. It's something like that.
Zerauii. Congratulations. And you have won this week. So I will send you a copy. I will send you a message inside of Twitch here, and it'll be for Hitman, the complete first season.
Coolio.
So, congratulations.
All right. Let's see. So our game of the week is your game of the week. It's Zerawi. Yeah, I screwed up every time. Game of the week is going to be The Division 2. You're hosting it.
So make sure
I'm out of town.
Make sure you get it downloaded.
Yep.
And we will do some groups. Get some groups together. We can do like 4-man groups. Run around, see some of the world, and see if it's, because the last one I did, it was kind of bare. I think they didn't have a lot of the stuff in there. It was more of a play test to make sure that the technology was working. Hopefully now they'll be adding in some more of the quest and things that you do as a group, since it's an open one. They're going to really want to impress everybody, since they're asking everyone to play at this time. So,
all right. Well,
we will see.
Yep. There you go. Join us for that on Friday. And then we should be live next Tuesday at our normal time. There's a possibility something with work may come up, but it's looking very unlikely at this point. So follow us on Twitter at InfectionCast for an update on that. If things are to change, Twitter and Discord are the first places that find out. So follow us there. We don't tweet a whole lot. It's a few. We get a few retweets of news if it's big. Tweet at that the show's live. Tweet the YouTube video once or twice after the fact, and if there's an update, tweet. So you don't have to worry about getting your feed spammed like our Steam group, which of course we're notorious spammers of Steam groups. So.
Yes, we're horrible.
Yeah, maybe once a week, if you're lucky.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
I try if Steam works.
Yes. Alrighty, Brian. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
All right, if you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, or my blog, biteoftech.com, and of course, go to our website, infectionpodcast.com, where you can go through and join our Discord server. First of all, that's the primary place where we're hanging out and chatting throughout the week. Submit news through our news channel on there. Also, our Steam group, as you said, get notifications before the live show starts. We have our YouTube channel, our audio-only formats, and then our Twitch channel on the upper right along the menu. So if you have a question, we have a lot of news that we didn't really go in depth on with as far as update notes this week. So if you go to our show notes, we have links to all the articles and all the different patch notes that were released for each of those games. So so make sure you go on there and check it out.
Yes. Please do that. Alrighty, Brian. Well, thank you. Welcome back, and yeah, I guess we'll see you Friday night.
Sounds good. I'll see you then.
Alrighty, folks. Thank you for joining us here for another episode of Infection. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig, of course. If you missed any part of the program or you want to check out our show notes, you can visit our website. It's infectionpodcast.com. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. Have a great week. Talk to you next time.